sorry, could you hear me? Hello, YouTube. What's new? What's new with me? I just finished filming a video and I'm now filming a second one. It's summer. I cannot wait for tomorrow because it's 4th of July tomorrow. And I'm going to spend all day at the pool because I have a break day from studying. And so, yeah, this is one of the many videos I'm filming in a bulk setting so I can just kind of schedule them and get them all up because it's been a while since I've made a video. I'm finding it is very hard to study, work out, and film, let alone just film and work out. I don't know how YouTubers who also work out do it because it's hard, guys. So this video is going to be about mock trial and my mock trial experience. I was going to do a video on how to write mock trial problems, particularly for kids, because I've done that 4 times. Let me know if you want that video. So this is my mock trial experience in law school. My law school called their mock trial area, the group that was in charge of that, the Board of Advocates. I've heard it called the Board of Barristers. I don't know what else, but those are the 2 I've heard it called. Mine was Board of Advocates. So if you don't know what Board of Advocates is, so basically it is the entity that is in charge of moot court and mock trial at your law school. And I think it's important to compete, at least in the on-campus competitions. You don't have to be part of the BOA to do them unless you are going to do an away team, which is like an off-campus team, which are the teams that travel. Because this is also going to be about how I got to travel to places when I was in law school. So besides that, there is the Board of what are words? Basically, it's one of the 2 honors you can get when you graduate. This is one of the ways I promoted it when I did tours of this school. It's one of the 2 honors you can get when you graduate. The first is Order of the Coif, which is the top 10% of your class. They get the little coffee grinders on the top of their toques. The second is Order of the Barristers, which are the top 10 people in your Board of Advocates, Board of Barristers, whatever it's called, at your law school. And being in this organization it's I wouldn't say it's on par with your student bar association or your whoever's the president of, I think every school has a student bar association because I don't know what the equivalent, it's like student government but for law school. I wouldn't say it's the equivalent of that, but it's just as important. So I was in it for 3 years. My last 2 years I was in charge of the kids of one of our community service opportunity, which allowed us to get community service hours for an award. An award that my school offered, or you can get, thoughts are leaving me, or it helps you get competition points. For us, you could only get competition points as a 1L, very rarely, and this is one of the ways you could get a competition point. I'll explain points in a bit. I think, do I have that on here? I do not. I'll explain it in a bit when I get to the end. So I was in charge of that, and I wrote mock trial problems for it. I basically redid the whole program because it was in dire need of help. But basically we went to schools and did a very simple mock trial program. Usually elementary school mock trials are pretty advanced. Everybody has a role. This was not like that. We had 4 weeks with these kids, 3 of which we actually prepared, and 1 was the trials. And we only had Fridays with them, 2 hours every Friday. So imagine what you did if you did mock trial when you were little. this isn't what that was. This is like very fast. You have a team, you have like a group of 5 kids for each of the main parts. So the witnesses is a group of like 5 kids. So we had like 4 witnesses, and they would each read a part, and then we had a like cross and direct of each of the witnesses. That was a team of like 5 kids, and then we had our opening and close, which is a team of 5 kids. So because we couldn't just assign one it couldn't just be 1-to-1. That wasn't gonna work, which is probably how it was for you if you did mock trial, but this wasn't that. We just didn't have enough time to do that, and there were not enough parts to do that because not every kid is gonna want to be a juror. And we brought in law students to be a juror. We also had a professor be the judge. So yeah, that's what I was in charge of. There are other branches and other parts of the DOA to be in charge of, such as on-campus competitions, off-campus competitions, the moot court side and the mock trial side. So yeah, speaking of that, there are 2 types of teams. I say this is 4. I say there's 2 types of teams. There's mock trial and moot court, but in reality, there's multiple things you can do with those teams. Like there's a client counseling competition. There are negotiations competitions that are teams. There's all the moot court competitions, and then there's just like your regular mock trial. Some are criminal mock trial, some aren't. So it really just depends on the team. So the tryout process can be different from school to school to get on a team. Like I said, on campus is free for all. You sign up with a group of people, you go and do it. But off campus, you have to try out, and depending on how your school does their tryouts, you can be screwed. I was screwed over from my first year onwards, because if you don't make a team, there's not a likelihood that you're going to make it afterwards, especially with the way my school did their tryouts. So for my school, the tryout process was you went and you tried out for every single team and coach that you wanted to. And it's very political. You have to go back and talk to them after you try out to see if they want you, because it's a matching process. If you've ever been through recruitment, if you're a girl and you've ever been through recruitment, it's a matching process exactly like sorority matching, and it is stressful as hell. And if you're screwed over your first year, you're kind of screwed in general, and you're probably not going to make order of the barristers because you have to have competition points, which I think is kind of like competition points are weighed more heavily, which I think is kind of meh. I don't think that's very fair. And I'll get to the points in a bit, I promise. So the teams I tried out for were mainly mock trial teams. I wasn't very good at moot court. It makes me nervous standing up there. I don't like being questioned. I like acting, so mock trial was for me. And moot court, you also have to write a brief. I don't want to do that. Like, yeah, you write it with other people, but I don't want to do that. I don't like legal writing. I don't want to do that if I don't have to. Like, there's a reason I don't want to do appellate stuff. Like, I remember my 1L year, my con law professor, like, played an a Supreme Court argument, and I, like, listened to it, and I was like, I don't want to do that. So, yeah, you're not going to be seeing me in an appellate court anytime soon. So, I tried out for mainly mock trial teams. The teams I was on a criminal mock trial team. I was on client counseling. And that's it. I also helped out with arbitration because my coach just needed extra help, and I helped my coach out a lot. She taught the criminal mock trial team and the client counseling team I was on, so I helped her out with other stuff. She's a great friend of mine. She has helped me so much through the bar exam process. So the 2 places I got to travel through mock trial was Puerto Rico and Colorado. Puerto Rico was a great competition. It was a criminal case, and it was a very intense competition, and like we got pretty far. We were the new people to this competition, and we got pretty far in it, and they announced us, and we were in shock. They were like, "Are y'all not happy?" And we were like, "No, we're just surprised." We were kind of screwed over like in real life, so in our final round, a witness for the opposing side, we were on the prosecution side, because when you do competitions, you have people who, like, usually your team is about 5 people. You have 2 people who will prepare for the prosecution or the plaintiff, and 2 that will prepare for the defense. And when you're the prosecution or the plaintiff, the 2 people that are the defense will be your 2 witnesses. And when you're the defense, the 2 people that are on the prosecution or plaintiff side will be your witnesses for that, because that's usually how it works. And then you have an alternate. So when we were in like our final round, we got 3rd or 4th place. We got pretty high. The witness for the defense did not correctly identify, or we were the defense. The witness for the prosecution did not correctly identify the defendant in court, and that's like no go. You want to identify it, because she identified him by his tie, but the defendant and one of the defense attorneys, because it was a guy and a girl, but the 2 guys, which was the defendant and one of the defense attorneys, they were both wearing the same kind of tie, and the witness just described it as a striped tie instead of like the color of it, and like in real life we would have won, but it was a mock trial, and they can't just like declare a mistrial basically or whatever. They can't do that. But their side was, we should have won against them. I'll say that. I'm still salty about it. you get attached to this stuff, but we should have won. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, we got to go to Puerto Rico. That was a really, really fun time. And then Colorado was really fun. That was client counseling. It was very intense because that was my coach's favorite competition. That's her like baby. She's very good at it, and I love playing not witnesses, but I love playing with clients, because you get like 1 sentence prompt, and then you get to like make stuff up if you don't have like the full bio, and it's great. So we got to go to Colorado. We got to go to Denver. I got really sick because I got really bad altitude sickness, which was not fun, but Colorado was still really fun. I love Colorado. I've already talked about kids mock trial. So on-campus competitions, basically you sign up with a group of people, and it's essentially the same. You sign up with 4 people. 2 people will be your prosecutors, 2 people will be your defense attorneys, and then your defense attorneys will be the witnesses for the prosecution, and the prosecution will be the witnesses for the defendants. So you don't usually get a lot of time. Usually you get about a week to prepare, and the competition is over 2 days usually. There's that kind of competition. We had a negotiations competition, which was actually really fun because 1Ls could compete. We had 1L close, which was only for 1Ls, and they did a closing argument usually based off their memo from the prior semester. Because at my school, your first semester 1L year, you write a memo. Your second semester, you write a brief. So they would usually do a memo, like their closing argument would be based on their memo. It could be based on anything they wanted it to be, but usually it was on the memo for 1L close. Other competitions that we would have on campus would be a plethora of moot court competitions, and then one that we weren't technically in charge of, but we did like do all the organization for, was the 1L moot court competition, which isn't really a competition anymore. But it's 1L moot court competition that you would do after you get your grade for your brief. So that's fun because everybody gets to read your brief basically, which when I found out my final grade on it and I got to compare it with someone else who was in a different section, I was not happy. The bell curve screwed me. Let's just say that. But those are the types of competitions that are held. That's basically what the BOA does, is all the competitions. They organize judges for the competitions. They organize, for on-campus, they organize like flights and hotels for off-campus competitions. So yeah, basic advice, get involved in it. Get as involved as you can, especially with competitions. Do as many competitions as you can because that can make or break if you get Order of the Barristers. I will say the only reason I didn't get Order of the Barristers was because there was a steep competition my year, but also because they did not count my service points. And now I'm going to go on and talk about points. So every competition is worth a certain amount of points, especially depending on if you place high. You get more points for if you place high. You also get service points for all the service things you do. So if you come in and you act as a bailiff, which is the person who knows all the timing for competitions, you get a service point basically. I had so me and one of my friends who got Order of the Barristers, he had the same amount of competition points as I had service points, and his service points were the same amount as my competition points, but he did all of his service points in his last semester basically. And he had like the bare minimum to make the service points, because there's 3 levels. There's introduction, I forgot what, they're different levels, but you have to be in the final 3rd tier to be able to be considered for Order of the Barristers. At least that's how it was at my school. But because he had more competitions, he also had a national title to his name, but still, because he had more competitions than I did, and because he had more competition points, even though our points were the same when you totaled them all, but because he had more competition points, he got the award. And I still think that's kind of stupid, because the service points are the things you do for the organization to forward and better the organization, and you would think they would want to count those more, but they don't. And to this day, I'm still bugged about it, because I should have gotten it. So yeah, basic advice: be as involved as you can. Never give up, even if you don't make a team. Never give up. Ask if you can help. Do anything you can to be involved. So yeah, that's all I got for you for Order of the Barristers and BOA. I'm trying to make sure I got everything. I'm looking at my bullet journal here. I want to know how old this is. I wrote this in February. That's how old this is. That's when I meant to film this video and I didn't. So I think I hit everything I wanted to. So I will leave y'all there. If you have any questions, you can talk about it down. You can leave them down below. If you like the video, you can like it. If you want to see more videos from me, you can subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified when I post a new video. And I will see y'all. I hope you have a wonderful day, week, month, year, whatever it is for you, and I'll see you later. Bye!